When you said the thing about treats, I was like, yes, including wine,
Yeah,
like
I was gonna have
life
some wine tonight
saving
too.
for
I put
sure.
sprinkles on my Shakeology tonight, you guys. Bravo.
Did you? Fancy. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so I have sort of like over the years, I've been coaching for 4 years, and that was really when I started coaching was really the time that I honed in on my nutrition. And so over the years, I've kind of like developed a little system for meal planning that just works for me. If I'm not like scheduling out the time to do it and get it done, I feel like it's Sunday evening, I'm tired, and it just like never happens. And so I kind of do it over 3 days, which might sound weird. Like it might sound like I'm adding work for myself, but I just break it up into quick little tasks that I do over 3 days. So typically on Fridays, I'll do my actual meal planning. So just like figuring out what I want to eat. During the week, I will be saving recipes. So whether that's like just on Instagram, people sharing recipes, whether it is like things that pop up, like I know like Delish always pops up on my Facebook. So I'll like be saving those posts often. The Beachbody blog, if you guys have not looked at the Beachbody blog for recipes, it's amazing. It breaks it down by like dinner, breakfast, lunch, and then it even goes further to break it down like chicken dinner. So you can be really specific there. So I love that place. I will often go there is like at the end when I'm meal planning and I have like a couple of meals that I haven't quite decided on. I'll go there to find some variety. So when I'm planning, the way that I do it, and some people are just like paper pencil to the core, and that used to be me, but for meal planning, I really like to do it on my computer. And the main reason is so that I can reuse it. So I just like made a chart. Like it's literally just like boxes with different Mackie like my scrunchie. um, but so it's just like a literal chart on my computer and it has the days and then it has the times. At the top of my meal plan, I actually will put my workouts for the week. I like doing that because it's just another place that I'm checking off. And then I'm constantly looking at this piece of paper that has my meals and it has my workouts on it. And so what I'll do is I'll type into that chart the meals that I'm having as well as the containers. So I love the container system. Obviously now Beachbody has several different nutrition plans. And so most of the things I'm going to say can go for any nutrition plan, but I really like the container system. I'm like a structure person. I succeed the most. And so I'll put the meals and then how many containers are allotted in each. So I'll put those in the chart. And then under the chart, I usually have my grocery list. And then under that, I have any links that I used for my recipes. So like if I have written in Monday dinner, like chicken enchiladas, then like underneath that, I will have a link of like where I found the chicken enchiladas. Or like if I got it from the Fixate cookbook, which is like the other big place that I look, I'll write like Fixate cookbook, page whatever. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Fixate cookbook is the cookbook that goes along with the container system that was created with the 21-day fix. So it's awesome. It already has like all of the containers listed out for you, unlike when you have to figure it out for yourself on other recipes. So I'll have that. I'll have my chart, and then I'll have my grocery list, and then I'll have the recipes underneath. And this does two things. It lets me share it with other people. So I run challenge groups also, and it lets me share it with my challengers. And then it also makes it super easy for me to just like grab that week and like go duplicate it like 2 months later if I feel like it. Some days I'll just like not be in a planning mood and I'll just like look at that, I'll just like scroll through my meal plans and be like, okay, I'm just going to use this one. And I already have everything set to go. I know where the recipes are. I know what the grocery list is. It's super easy. So that's kind of like how I plan out. And I usually do that on Thursdays and Fridays. But I'm really looking at recipes like the whole week. And when it comes to the containers, so how I sort of like organize it to figure out my containers, I always start with dinner. So I feel like dinner is the place I can be most creative. And so I'm married, and so I find it fun to like come up with different recipes for dinner, more so than I do for like breakfast and lunch. I'm a little bit more like stick to my staples in those areas. So I'll do dinner first, and then I'm just backwards counting. So like if I have a yellow and a green and a blue and a red or something in dinner, then I know what I have left for the rest of my day, and I can plan it backwards that way. So that's kind of like how I order my meals. And then on Saturdays, like after I've done the meal planning, I already have my grocery list in front of me, and I will either order my groceries to pick them up at the store, or I will order them to be delivered. Like, I don't know when the last time I went in a grocery store was, because I literally hate it. Some people, my mom thinks I'm crazy. She like finds going to the grocery store therapeutic. So she like likes to walk around the grocery store. And I'm like, that stresses me out. Even before I had children, like I can't even lie and say like, oh, once I had my daughter, I started like shopping online. Not true. I have been doing it forever. Like ever since I figured that out that you could do that, I have been doing the shopping online. Hi, Ange. So I will then order my groceries, and typically I will have them delivered. Like if I'm getting them delivered, I'll have them delivered on Saturday, so that then Sunday, whatever time works, like whatever based on my family's schedule, I can wake up Sunday and meal plan, or I can do it during Hadley's nap on Sunday. And I can actually like prep the food. And so that's sort of like the order that I do it in, because then each day it's just like not a huge commitment. Like if I were to think about like waking up on Sunday, thinking of all my meals, then ordering the groceries, and then I have to have them delivered at some point, it would be Sunday night, and I'd be like stressed and prepping all my food. And so breaking it up for me has been like the biggest game changer. I'm just the type of person that like, if I'm dreading a task, I'm just not going to do it. And so when I'm breaking those things down into little pieces, I don't dread any of those pieces, and I will get them done. Like I'm not going to skip them. So usually on Sundays, like I find that I can get my prep done in like an hour. Because the biggest thing I'm prepping are lunches. So breakfast, I usually find to be pretty simple. Sometimes I'll do things like egg cups or like overnight oats, something like that I have to prep. But usually, especially since I started working from home and I'm cooking breakfast for my daughter and I like to make breakfast. Like she helps me make my breakfast. Getting her involved has been something fun about cooking that's new for me. Just like telling her the steps and letting her do little things like mix it. Or having a shake for breakfast is super easy. So I don't typically do like a prep for breakfast. Lunches, I definitely prep. So that's usually my biggest prep item that I'm doing on Sundays. And that's because I'm usually eating lunch or like on the go running errands, activity with Hadley, or I work 2 days a week out of the home. And so I'll have to pack my lunch. So I would say like for people that do work outside of the home, meal prepping your lunches and like having them ready to just grab in the morning, that's like the biggest game changer of all. Because I don't know about you guys, but like if I don't have a lunch prepped and I'm driving, if I'm anywhere near fast food, like I will look for excuses to get that fast food. I'm like, oh, I forgot my lunch today. Darn. Like, and I will go get fast food. So having that lunch prepped and with me, and even having like little snacks that like, so I'm an occupational therapist and I go from school to school sometimes. And so even having like a snack I can eat in the car, like literally in the car, so that I'm not stopping is a huge, huge help for me. So lunch is really the biggest thing I prep. If there's like a really complicated dinner, sometimes I'll prep certain things. But I typically will make my dinner that evening. I enjoy cooking dinner. So yeah. Yeah. And Devin said Penn Station kills her if she's not prepared. I can absolutely imagine you just have to walk through there and see all the options. So getting some sort of like little isolated tote lunch bag has been really helpful. Like I just have a tiny bag, and I'll bring my lunch in there, and that's super helpful. And I find, so this is like up to you guys, but I used to bring my shakes for lunch, but I'm weird about like the consistency of my shakes, and I don't like them if I've made them in the morning and I save them. I don't like them just stirred, but I will bring now, like in my lunch bag, I'll bring a mason jar that just has my shake powder, almond milk, and a banana. And then I will get to work, and I bought on Black Friday, I bought this like literally like $7 like single serving blender, and I keep it at work. So that has also been a really awesome thing for me, because then I can just make my shake at work, and it's fresh and it's delicious, and I'm like looking forward to it. So I highly suggest that. I mean, blenders are not that expensive in general, but I got one from Target. It was like online on Target. I think it was on Black Friday, and it was super cheap. And that has been super helpful to have that as an option when I'm at work. So yes. Any questions so far? I'm going to look at my notes really quick, because I did jot down some things, because I'm like such a squirrel brain.
Maggie, I didn't even know you did it like that. And I'm like, I love that you break things down into 3 days, because I even get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, it's Saturday. Oh my God, it's Sunday. Oh my gosh, it's Monday. I have no food. And I'm like, because I was dreading it. And I think a lot of times people dread meal planning and think if they don't do it perfectly, they shouldn't do it at all. Where in reality,
Yeah.
it's like if we break it into these little pieces, like it's so much more doable. And you
Yeah.
really don't have to prep everything. You can prep like lunch if that's like the thing that you really won't be home to have. I'm like you, I don't mind cooking dinner, but I need it to be in my house, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really helpful. Does anybody have any questions? And then I just want to ask her like one more thing. Did you guys find that helpful? I found that really helpful. Really, I learned a lot from you just now, Maggie. Okay,
Yay. I'm
so
so glad.
Maggie, I want you to just really quickly tell us, like, how do you recover? Because we've talked about this as like friends and, partners.
Yeah.
Like, how do you recover from like a weekend of weddings or vacation or 4 weekends of weddings? Because I know we've talked about that. Like, oh my God, it's literally been like 7 weekends in a row that we feel like we've traveled and gone to weddings or like vacations. So what do you feel like your like top tips are to bounce back, not fight the shame and all that stuff?
Yeah. So and this is again, like, this is my personality. If it's not yours, it's okay. I love the balance approach, and the balance approach is what allows me to like feel productive and continue to like feel good in the long term. But when I start to abuse the balance approach, which happens a lot, I find that I really have to be extremely restricted for just like 3 days. And so that's what I do. So like if I go to a wedding or like have a weekend of traveling and things got away from me a little bit, I didn't really totally stick to my plan, it's okay. And I've worked really hard to like not have guilt over that. And then Monday, like I literally just I do my meal plan the same way, but then those first 3 days of the week, like there are like it is not like, okay, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Okay, well, oh, there's dessert. I'll have a little dessert. Like those kinds of things that you reward yourself when you're using the balance approach, like those are great for me when I need to get back on track. I like remind myself that I love healthy foods. It's funny that our 3-day refresh is 3 days long, right? Like that is a really good thing for me to do. I do that like 3 or 4 times a year. I do the 3-day refresh. And that's like one of our cleanses that I love. But even just on my own, I do just 3 days of like very strict following of the container system. And that really helps me just to get back on track. Because especially if I do, like Mackenzie said, like if I have like multiple weddings in a row, then I'm just thinking, okay, if I'm doing 5 days during the week of like really good following the plan, then like I don't need to feel guilty about enjoying myself on the weekends. Like that is life. And that's how you're going to stay sane and not feel like, that you're restricted. Like if I feel unhappy then I'm not sticking to something. And so finding the kind of give and take of like following the balance approach most of the time in my life versus like being really regimented. That's kind of where, that's kind of how I get myself out of a rut, is like, is being really regimented until those cravings go down. Because I think we all know at this point, like, you crave what you eat more of. And so the more you're eating too many carbs, the more you're eating too many sweets, the more you're eating those things, the more your body's going to be asking for them. The more you're eating the healthy stuff and the vegetables, the more your body's going to be craving those. So those 3 days for me, it almost like reminds my brain and my body that I enjoy healthy food and I feel good on healthy food. And so that's kind of like what resets me. Did that answer your question, Mac?
Yes. And I
Yeah.
will add, like, I'm kind of the same way. I look at my week ahead, and there's nothing wrong with like planning out your treats. And I think when we plan them, it's like we don't see them as like some mistake that we made. Because a lot of times I think we're like, oh my gosh, I had some cake and it's a
Yeah.
mistake. And in reality, it's like, all right, you know that Susie has a birthday at work on Wednesday. So you're going to pencil in that you're going to have some cake on Wednesday. And then you're going tailgating on Saturday. So you're going to pencil in that you're going to have some beers on Saturday. But then all the other days, you're just following your meal plan. You're working out.
Yeah.
You're eating like you normally would. You're having your shake. Those things are going to happen. They're going to come and go. There's no guilt attached because you knew they were coming. You allowed yourself to do it. And then you just kind of like jump right back in. And so if you see a weekend coming where you know you're going to have more than normal, then stay pretty dedicated during the week. If your
Yeah.
weekend doesn't look like it's going to involve like a lot of treats, then have that glass of wine on a Monday night or have pizza night on Thursday and just enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all in moderation. And that was a really good way to put it, Maggie, that like just getting strict and knowing that you have that plan as soon as Monday hits can take that guilt off.
Yeah. So one other thing that made me think of
Yeah.
was, wait, what was I going to say?
Oh gosh. It made you think of something.
You made me think of something.
I said something about.
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
So one thing I'll do when I'm traveling, so like I like to put in all my meals and like know exactly what I'm going to eat. But if I'm traveling and I don't necessarily know what I'm going to eat, but I'm still planning on like doing my best to stick with a plan, I will just write out, like, if I'm going to eat breakfast at home, I'll put it in my meal plan. If I'm going to eat lunch at home, I'll put it in my meal plan. And then for dinner, I will just write, like, in my meal plan, instead of writing the foods, I'll write the containers that I'm leaving for that dinner. So,
Yeah.
like, if I leave myself, like, a green, a red, a blue, purple, like, then I know, like, at dinner, maybe I could get, what containers did I say? Green, a red, a blue, and a purple. Like, I could get, like, a delicious, like, spinach salad with, like, chicken and strawberries on it or something. Like, I know exactly what is still in my plan. So I don't have to know exactly what I'm eating, but I know what containers are left.
Yeah.
And so that always helps me. And then the one other thing I was going to say, too, is, like, a lot of times my challengers will talk about, like, their husbands or their kids, like, not eating what they're eating. And so my biggest suggestion is to make your meal plan and then to have extras that you can add in for other people. So like if I'm making like steak and broccoli or something, like I know like my husband always wants a carb. Like he just does. He always wants a carb with dinner. And so I'll get red potatoes and I'll add them in. I just won't have them if I don't have a yellow left. Maybe I do have a yellow left, whatever. And like, for my daughter for lunch, if I'm making what's on my meal plan because she likes what I eat, I will then like throw in like something that I know she loves outside of what I'm eating, so that I know she's still going to be eating it, but she's also trying what I'm eating.
Right.
Because with kids, like that's half the battle, is just getting them to try things over time. So for family and for kids, like make your meal plan. Like you're allowed to like put yourself first and plan healthy meals for yourself. Just have those little spots and additions where you can add things in for those family members. Like you can easily make mac and cheese for your kid to have as a side with the steak and the broccoli. So just trying your best to like still plan for yourself, even if your family does have different needs. and then just adding things in for them. I don't know if that helps, but
That does help. I've gotten Darren like DiGiorno pizzas before, you guys. Like
yeah,
I know he's gonna want it, and I'm like, whatever. And it's so hard to not hate them, but have one slice and then eat salad. Even if maybe they're gonna eat 4 slices, eat a slice, eat a salad. There's your blue, your carb, and then just fill yourself with greens. Like you
yeah,
don't, I think sometimes we just assume that like we can't have the fun with them, but you can. You just have to do it in moderation. When we grill out, we have like hot dogs on game days and like brats. Like I love a good brat with slaw, so I just don't do a bun. Like there's ways to kind of just pull back a little bit and not go as far as some of our guys like to go, but still
yeah.
feel like you're part of the party and enjoy yourself. So this was so
Totally agree.
helpful. Thank you.
Good. I'm so glad. I feel like
I hope this
meal
helps
planning is
you.
like one of the most overwhelming and hard things at the beginning, but once you get into a good groove of it and like have a system for yourself, it's easy. And I truly think it's like the number one thing that brings you results. I mean, I
Yeah,
think we all know that.
totally.
But finding a good system with meal planning is so huge. So
Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions before we jump off? Anybody? I hope this is helpful for you guys. Thanks for coming on here with us. I'll get the recording up and I'll send it right over to you, Maggie, and then we'll see you guys
perfect.
back here in a couple weeks. All
All
right.
right.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
Thanks, Maggie. Bye, Ann.